Hey guys, welcome to my Root of Nightmares raid guide. This is my first time doing this kind of thing, this video or a day one raid, but considering I spent the majority of the first 48 hours in the raid, I do know the raid in and out, so I figured I'd go ahead and make this video on how to do the encounters and get all those triumphs for the conditional finality drop rate increase, and also the red border chest for your weekly free red border. But anyway, let's go ahead and get right into it. So as soon as you load into the raid, you'll be in this big, massive open room. You'll just head out and go to the left over here on the ledge. Once you get out here, it's a big area. There's a courtyard there with lots of enemies that you can just go ahead and kill. Once you're out here, you can come up to the left over here at the top side of that courtyard, and you'll find this little area here. And this will be for the red border chest at the end of the raid. You'll find these little orbs here in a random order of light and dark. You'll read them from left to right, and you'll see in this example here they are light, dark, dark. So just keep those in mind, write them down in chat, and you'll be hitting those in that order throughout the raid. Once you've memorized your red border chest order, if you just head down here into the courtyard, you'll see this little statue here, and right in front of that there's this little green bowl pot looking thing. That is one of the lore book collectibles. You'll just go ahead and hit E or square or whatever your button is on that just to collect that and get one of the lore books. So from there you'll just continue on past the courtyard, up these stairs and through this door on the right, and you'll end up in this other room with all these plant looking growths going around, and you'll actually find the first red border node in here. You'll just go across instead of to the left, and you'll find a door down here to some stairs. It's very dark. You're going to turn on your flashlight, and down here you'll find a light and dark node to connect. This will be the main mechanic of the raid. So basically what you do is you just stand in one of the nodes with the aura around it and shoot the ball in it. It'll give you a buff, either Field of Light or Flux of Darkness, and you'll take that to the other node. It will have a light pointing towards where you need to go, and then the one you need to hit will have this little black orb in the middle of it. You just stand next to that and shoot it, and it will connect it for you. After you've connected the proper node, you'll just head back up the stairs, out to the right, and start climbing up these light plant growth thingies. Up at the beginning of this will be the first encounter. So the way this will work is you'll notice there is one of those nodes here with the Field of Light, the little aura around it. You're going to need to have one or two runners. It is pretty easy to do solo, especially if you have an Eager Edge sword here. And you'll just be running around and connecting those nodes like earlier in that secret room. So you shoot the one with the aura on it, you run to the next one, and you shoot it to connect them. You'll have to run back to the first one to get the aura, and run to the next one after that. And the aura does move around after a few, so it will move forward, get a little bit closer. But once you've connected all of them, the final one will be on this little petal thing here. You'll actually be connecting it to the plant growths there. Once you complete that, you will finish that section. There's 4 sections of connecting nodes here, and you'll just move on through the area. As soon as you start the encounter, you will start a 30-second timer. To extend that timer, first you need to find 2 scions in these orbs here. Run up and kill them with a melee is the easiest to do. And that will spawn a Tormentor on one side and a Barrier Colossus on the opposite side. So what we like to do is call out Tormentor left or Tormentor right. We know the barrier will be on the other side, and you can kill that Tormentor as soon as you can if you need the time. However, if you do save it to the next section, you can kill it as soon as the timer starts and get 30 seconds, which is a strat we try to use all the time outside of contest mode. It's very helpful if you need that extra time. The first section can be easily done without that timer extension. It's pretty close, pretty quick and easy to do. So once your runner or runners have connected all of the nodes in a section, that timer will stop and you'll just be on ad clear. There'll be a ton of ads everywhere, just kill them all, and eventually the timer will start for the next section. You'll move on to the next nodes and rinse and repeat and do the same thing all the way through this encounter. It's pretty simple, pretty repetitive, and actually quite easy. One thing to note here though is that if someone shoots the orb to get the buff and then it gets shot again before a node is connected, it will disrupt them for about 20 seconds. So try to avoid that at all costs. Coordinate with your runners if you're doing that, or if you're doing solo, just try not to shoot it again on accident. For the triumph on this encounter, it's really simple. You just have to kill both of the scions within 1 second of each other each time they spawn. So just coordinate and make sure you kill those at the same time. Once you've completed all 4 node sections, that's it for the encounter. You can collect your loot and move on with the raid. So as you move on, progressing through this pyramid ship here, you'll be climbing these plants, the little vine things. You will come across this little thing right here. This is a launcher. So all you have to do, stand right in front of it, shoot the splinter in front of you, and it will launch you and anyone else standing in front of it across the gap. As you're going on up, eventually you will reach this big open room with lots of enemies in it and a launcher at the end of it. Before you launch across this gap, in the beginning of the room, right as you go through the door to the right, there is another green bowl lore collectible. So go ahead and grab that and then launch yourself across. As you go up, you will eventually reach this section right here with some plants and debris, and here you will find another lore book collectible little green bowl, so you can go ahead and grab that and move on. Just after that lore book, right up here, you will notice across the other side on the wall, there are a couple doors that you can go into, and one of them has a launcher in front of it. This will be for the secret chest, so go ahead and go over there. With Strand, you can just grapple, but you can also make the jump. It might be a little bit tight, but I recommend a grapple if you have it. Once you get over there, go down the hall, and there will be a tormentor and some other enemies in there. Kill them, and a secret chest will spawn. Get that, and that will give you another lore book as well. Then you can just head on back through the hall, use the launcher to get across the gap, and we'll move on to the second encounter. So for this encounter, it will be the exact same mechanic as the first one. However, you will see on the left side here, there is a dark node, and on the right, there's a light node. So you will need to have at least 2 runners for this encounter. It is very easy to do with 1 runner per side. Again, with Eager Edge, or even without it, you have plenty of time. But if you want, you can run 2 runners per side and just have one of them stay on one side and the other one be the one launching across the gap each time. These will be in a set pattern, so it'll always go to the same one each time, and it's mirrored on both light and dark sides. The first one will always be on the opposite side, so the first runner or just the first node, you will get the buff, then launch yourself across with the launcher and go and connect it. You will have a 2-minute timer to get both of these sides done before you get wiped by these big walls pushing you out into the middle gap. But as soon as you complete both light and dark nodes, they will pulse all the way through them, showing that they have been completed, and the timer will stop. Throughout this whole thing, there will be a lot of ads spawning, including some immune enemies called Redolence of Splendor or Darkness. The only way to kill these enemies is to have their respective buff, either Field of Light or Flux of Darkness, and then you'll be able to kill them. You can just have one of your ad clear people stand in the buff when the runner hits it if you want to have that and kill those enemies. So once both light and dark nodes are complete, it will spawn a group of more immune enemies, including a yellow bar mini boss that you'll need to kill on both sides with the buff. At this point, anyone can shoot the aura and get the buff as many times as you want. It's not going to disrupt it or anything, and so just do that and kill all those enemies. Once all of them are dead on both sides, the last launcher at the end will become available, and that one will launch you up to the next floor. There are 3 floors to this, but it's all exactly the same pattern for the nodes and everything, so just rinse and repeat all the way up to the top until you complete the encounter. For the triumph on this encounter, all you have to do is not kill any immune enemies until both light and dark nodes are completed for each floor. So just leave them alive. Don't even let the runners get the buff if possible, and wait until the end to kill them. That's it. It's a really simple triumph. So after collecting your loot, you'll just climb up this little plant here and go into the hole and move on into this hallway. In here, you will have some more nodes to connect to open the next door. Once everyone's there, they will spawn. It's the same thing, just light and dark nodes. Connect them along the walls. I think there's only 3 to connect, and the last one will be on the middle little floating platform there. So here's where we get to the fun part. There is a whole platforming section with a constant wipe mechanic that you have to avoid. To avoid it, all you have to do is shoot one of these light nodes and get the field of light buff, and then run over to one of the dark nodes and shoot it to create a darkness refuge. This will last for a while on the pool, and as soon as you touch it, it will give it to you for 14 seconds. So you'll just continue on and traverse this area here, moving through from light node to dark node, getting refuge and surviving the wipe. If you have a eager edge sword and you're on hunter or warlock and you can skate, you can really just skip a lot of this because it's very, very open. So feel free to do that if you want to. However, there is a lore book collectible here as well as another red border node to hit. The secret chest room will be over in this area just before the big column area and a door that you have to open with everyone there. So you just head down here, there's a door, run into this room and connect the proper node there. But to continue on, you will need to have everyone come into this big column area here with a light and dark node and then a closed door. Once everyone shows up, that door will open here and then you'll head out into another big area with a bunch of stairs and stuff there. Here's where we'll actually find the second secret chest. So as soon as you come out of the door, if you run up and to the right and walk over to this ledge, you will see a little splinter down there. Just shoot that and it will open a door behind you. So right at the top of the stairs, right above where you come out of the door, there'll be another door. Run in there and there's another secret chest as well as a light and dark node to give you a refuge in case you're about to die. Moving on from there, on the other side of it, when you're continuing on, you head into this building and go up the stairs, and there is a door looking out over that little kind of courtyard looking thing, and there is a lore book right there that you can collect. But again, just continue on, make your way through all the way up, and you'll find yourself at another door that requires everyone to open. Moving on up through that door, you'll just go up the stairs and you'll find actually another door that requires everyone to be there. This one can be a little finicky, so you'll kind of have to have everyone crowd into the doorway there before it will open. And right through that door and down this hallway, you're going to reach the third encounter. This is probably the most unique and beautiful encounter with all these planets and everything in this room here. So the general idea of this encounter is that there will be light and dark planets, and you'll need to get them to their correct sides. And once you walk forward enough, you will see that 2 of the planets in the middle will light up, the left one will be light, and the right one will be dark. This tells you where those planets will need to go. There's a lot of confusion on callouts for this encounter, but I found personally that the easiest and most effective way of doing it is labeling each of these little triangles as a plate, L1, R1, L2, and R2. And then each planet on the plate will be assigned left, right, or mid from the perspective of where you come in from the room. So you can assign a person to each plate, have an add clear on left side and an add clear on right side. At the beginning of the encounter, it will just be a lot of ads spawning, a lot of scions and phalanxes, but eventually a centurion will spawn on both sides. As soon as you kill that centurion on one side, it will spawn a couple lieutenants on each plate for that side. So you just have the plate people kill those lieutenants, and they will get a buff called Planetary Insight. This buff will allow them to see which planets are which. So if you just look up at your plate, you'll see that one of them is out of place. So for the left side, 2 of them will be light and 1 of them will be dark. Once 1 lieutenant has been killed on each side, it will start a timer. So everyone will get a buff called Planetary Shift. There'll be a bar under it that shows you the time left. What you'll have to do is go to the planet that is the odd one out on your side, interact with it for planetary attunement, and then you'll run to the opposite plate. So if you're on L2, you'll run to R2, then you'll interact with the planet that they've called out. For theirs, that's the odd one out, so it will be planetary alignment there. If both of you have done this correctly, your planets will swap places and the plates will burst in light. However, if one person does it and the other person doesn't, the planet will go over to the other side and say, oh no, there's no room for me here, and go back to where it was. So you do need to do both of them at the same time to get it right. However, you can do the 1s and 2s separately because those are the ones you're swapping. It's hard, it's a bit of a tight timer here to get a second run through if you mess up. So it's best to just try and get it on the first try, because there is a timer for the entire little phase here. If you look in the middle, there's this little orange stuff filling up these bars, and once that fills up, you will just wipe. But if you get all 4 plates correct, they will all light up, and you'll see in the bottom left, it says the index planets have revealed themselves. From there, you'll just add clear again, more Centurions will spawn, kill them, you'll have more lieutenants, and you'll kill them for planetary insight. From there, you look in the middle, and you'll see those 3 planets. One of them will be one color, and 2 will be the other color. So either 2 light and 1 dark, or 2 dark and 1 light. You can just call out what they are, and what you'll have to do is go to the plates and align the planets to go to the middle. So let's say the left and right middle planets were light and the middle one was dark. You'd have one person from L2 get one of the light planets, one person from L1 get the other light planet, and then one person from the right side on the dark planets connect that middle one. And if you do this correctly, all 3 of those planets will go to the middle, and they should be on their respective ones. They're like magnets, so light to light they will oppose, and you'll see the planet bounce away. However, if they are opposites, so if someone accidentally puts a dark planet on a light planet, they will attract, they will collide, and you will wipe. From here, you'll start the damage phase, so you'll just wait for the planets to do their thing, kill some adds, make sure all the scions are dead because they like to knock you up while you're trying to do damage, and once the explicator here jumps down, you can do damage to him. The way it works is it's a 3-plate system, and he will either be glowing light or dark, and you'll have to go stand on that plate and shoot him from there to do damage. It will always be alternating, so it will start on the one that has 2, so if there's 2 light and 1 dark, it will start on a light plate, and then go to dark, and then go to light. You can stand on either of the light plates first, but we usually try to make it so it's kind of cohesive and you can get to the next plate pretty easily. Maybe put a Titan bubble or something between them to run through, or if you have wells, you can put the wells on the plates, but you'll run through those and hit all the plates. There will be a damage threshold you'll see on his health bar. If you don't break that threshold, it will cancel the entire DPS phase and you'll have to do the planet shifting phase again. However, in normal mode, it is pretty easy. It's not a very big damage check. He can be easily 2-phased, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. To know when to move to the next plate, you can look in the bottom left and it will say the explicator shifts focus, and that just means he's changing so you can go to the next plate. So just keep doing that until you get to his final stand. For final stand, all you have to do is just stand on any of the plates and you'll be able to damage him, so it's pretty easy, nothing really special there. The triumph for this encounter is a bit more difficult, but it's still not that bad. What it is you can't allow the same person to gain planetary insight on a single shift phase. The way we did this is on the first phase where you're moving the planets to the other plates. We just had the plate people kill the lieutenants, call out their own plate, and then on the next phase where you're moving them to the middle for damage, we have the add clear people kill both lieutenants on their side. They can kill both of them, that's fine. And in fact, please do that because they will rain fire down upon you if you don't kill them. So make sure that both of those are dead. And if you do that right, you will get that triumph. One thing I forgot to mention is they did add a little message in the bottom left that tells you if you've failed the encounter triumph. So you can just keep an eye on that to make sure you haven't failed, similar to a challenge. Moving on from that encounter, we are moving into the last one, the fight against Nezarec. However, before we get there, we do have one more collectible to get, as well as another node to hit for that red border chest. Right outside the explicator room, you will find another one of those node things that you have to complete to open the next door and continue on. So it's very simple. Just go ahead and do that. So just continue, progress on, move up the stairs and climb your way through until you reach this area here with a bunch of doors on the wall. The correct door will be on the bottom row, the third one from the left. If you go through here and just keep going straight, you go through the stairs here into this little room, you will find the last lore collectible little green bowl. So once you collect that, you can just jump on up, do the little jumping puzzle, and get to this door here. Once you reach this area here, if you jump down on the bottom right, you'll find this floating rock here. Just jump onto that, look up, and there's a door you can go into. And in here is the last node for the red border chest. If you've done it correctly, you will see the message "your actions take root" once again, and then it will say "a great harvest awaits." That means you've done it correctly, and you will get the red border chest at the end of the raid. So just moving on up to the top, you will reach the Nezarec encounter up here. So for this encounter, it will combine all of the mechanics we've learned so far, other than the planet stuff. That was its own thing. So there will be light and dark nodes to connect, and you'll need to make refuges to survive a white mechanic. So you'll need at least one runner here. You can do two if you want, but just make sure you communicate and coordinate so you don't disrupt those nodes, because that is kind of devastating. So this whole time, you will need to have someone taking Nezarec's hatred. So as soon as he raises his arm for the first time, you'll see that one or two people get a debuff called Nezarec's hatred, and that will knock them up. He'll be targeting them and trying to kill them. If someone shoots him in the chest and hits that crit spot, it will give them his hatred for about 10 seconds. And you'll just need to run around and avoid him, try not to die, and refresh that buff to keep your runners from dying. So for this first phase, because of animations and stuff with Nezarec, it is pretty easy to complete these without doing a refuge. However, for future phases, you will need to create one. So if you shoot Nezarec in the shoulders, he will burst with either a light or dark energy, and this tells you what refuge you need to make. So if it's a dark refuge, you will need to get the Field of Light buff and run over to a completed dark node without the aura around it, shoot that, and create the darkness refuge. And the same for the light in the other direction. Once both light and dark nodes have been completed, it will be damage phase. So we like to do damage from one of these light plates here. Usually this one we're standing on right now. He will be blasted with a beam of light from the center, and that will be the start of DPS phase. So he does have a few attacks here that are kind of annoying. One of them, he will slam the ground and send out these purple things that if they hit you, they'll knock you up like a scion. Another one is he will jump up and disappear, and he'll teleport somewhere. But that one, if you listen and you have stereo headphones on that are good, you can actually hear what direction he's going and look over there so you know where he's going to pop up. One thing to keep in mind, if you do have div on him, when he jumps up in the air slowly, the div bubble will stay down below. The div bubble will kind of be at his crotch area. It'll always stay there even when he's up in the sky. I don't know why, but it does that. So just keep shooting the nothing bubble and do damage. So just keep doing that. Make sure to get your proper refuge on everyone after the first phase to make sure no one gets killed by his white mechanic. And his final stand, again, is just kill him. There's nothing special about it. For the triumph on this encounter, what you have to do is activate each node within 5 seconds of each other. So that includes the one to give you the buff and the one to connect them on both sides. So just try and coordinate, match your speed together, and get those together for the triumph. That includes the refuge one. So what we did for it is we just made both refuges at the same time, so we didn't fail the triumph, and then just ran into the correct one. If someone is standing in the aura when the runner shoots the buff and gets it, it will give it to them as well, and that will fail the triumph for you. So try to avoid that and stay out of that bubble unless you are the runner. But yeah, once you kill him, that is the raid. You should get your red border chest as well as another lore book along with that. So you should have 8 out of 10. We currently don't know where the other 2 are. They're not in the raid. I've looked literally everywhere. There's no way of getting them currently. I saw on Reddit that people were saying they aren't released yet, but I guess we'll find out in the future where those lore books are. Anyway, I hope this guide helps anyone who may find it. I spent a lot of time on the raid, so I figured I'd just go ahead and make this since I knew what I was doing. I wish everyone the best of luck on getting your conditional finality drop. It's a really fun weapon, and I've enjoyed using it over the past week or so. But with that, thanks for watching, and maybe I'll see you in the future.
Yeah, he's got to do his screen. Okay, now go.
Off I go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's the triumph. Nice.
Claim it before loot drops.
So now I just gotta get a flawless.
Oh shit.
Oh my god, I got it!
I got it.
Oh,
Nice.
Tony got it.
Nice.
Fuck yeah, Tony. You joined
my
the right
God.
LFG.
Yep.
Oh shit.